Today I'm going to be looking at the Star Wars Saga Bundle of Disney Infinity 3.0 for the PS4. It just came out a couple of days ago, and it includes some exclusive items that are only available on the PS3 and PS4 at the moment, so I thought some people might be interested in seeing it. It's called the Saga Bundle because it includes two playsets that span both the prequels and the original trilogy. The prequel playset stars Anakin and Ahsoka, and is the one that comes with the standard starter pack available on all consoles. The other set, for the original trilogy, stars Luke and Leia and will be released for all consoles at the end of this month. It also includes a bonus figure in the form of Boba Fett, who is also not available for purchase outside this bundle at the moment. This is going to be a quick unboxing and a short overview of gameplay, as well as the figures that come with the set and some of my favorite features. I haven't had enough time to play the game to be able to do a full review, however. So in this bundle, you essentially get a big black box in a slipcover, and inside the box are 3 items that will eventually be on store shelves. However, at the moment, only one of them is available, and that's this starter set here. The starter set includes Anakin and Ahsoka figures and the prequel playset, as well as the base and the game itself. You get the full retail packaging for the Boba Fett figure, which again won't be released until sometime around the end of the month. And you also get the Rise Against the Empire playset, which similarly will not be released until the end of the month. This includes Luke and Leia and the original trilogy playset piece. That's all that's in the box. I'm going to open up the starter pack box now. I'm not going to bother opening up the other things on camera because there's really nothing you can't see from the outside anyway. First of all, you get the game itself, and you get a base. This appears to be exactly the same base that they included with the last version of the game, and as a matter of fact, my son and I were just using the last version with this game without any problem. You also get the figures, Anakin and Ahsoka, and the playset piece. Now I'd like to look a little bit closer at each of the figures. We have Luke and Leia from the Rise Against the Empire set. We have a number of the Infinity figures for the previous games, and one thing I've always thought is that they're really well made. They're well painted, well sculpted, they seem high quality, and I could actually see someone collecting these just as figures without even using them in the game, especially now that Star Wars is in the mix. These are very attractive figures. Of course, they're not articulated, but I'm definitely going to be displaying them on the shelf. Here are Anakin and Ahsoka. Ahsoka is really nice. I like her a lot. Anakin's face, I don't know, seems slightly off from what we're used to seeing in stuff like the Clone Wars cartoon. They've maybe Disneyfied him a little bit more than necessary, but both very good quality figures. I don't know that I'm going to be buying a lot of the prequel figures. I'm more of an original trilogy person myself, but yeah, well done. Finally, we have fan favorite Boba Fett. Again, well done. Reminds me of some of the statues that Gentle Giant has made, the animated style statues. One of the main characteristics of these Infinity figures is that the paint is really impeccably well done, and I don't think these are any exception to that. You can barely see any kind of slop or anything where it's not supposed to be. They look almost perfect. And here are all the figures together along with their playset pieces. This bundle costs $115, which is not cheap, and basically that's what these things would cost separately if you were to buy them at their retail prices. What you're paying for here is the exclusivity, the getting the things earlier, basically. If you can wait, depending on how long you can wait, you could save a lot of money on this set. I'm sure I was able to buy Infinity 2.0 for $10. When it originally came out, it was $75, and I've also gotten a lot of the Infinity 1.0 and 2.0 figures for much less than retail. But given that it's Star Wars, I couldn't resist getting it on day one. To give you a quick introduction, Disney Infinity can roughly be divided into two sections. There are the playsets, which are set in fictional worlds like those of the Avengers or Star Wars, and generally only the characters from those worlds can enter the playsets. And then there is the toy box, which is less structured, where you can build your own worlds or play in ones that other people have built, and all Infinity characters can interact in the toy box. Right now you're looking at gameplay from the Rise Against the Empire playset, which loosely follows the events of the original trilogy. I say loosely because, as you can see, they have changed around the story from the very beginning, putting Luke, Han, and Chewie on Princess Leia's ship as it is captured. They flee to Tatooine in an escape pod following the droids. I think these changes were made because you can theoretically use any of these characters right from the start, assuming you have the figure, but it does seem rather odd. Of course, if this kind of minor change bothers you, then you'll really hate seeing Luke Skywalker fight enemies in Arendelle from Frozen, talk to Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King, or collect giant floating tomatoes. You can do all of this and more in the toy box. Personally, I think it's fun, if rather bizarre at times, but for this video I'm going to be focusing mostly on the playset side of things. I've really only played the Tatooine section at this point, so I'm going to focus on that. It's actually a relatively small area centered on Mos Eisley Spaceport, but there's a lot to do and collect here. Here's a little gameplay with Luke. He has his blaster and his lightsaber right from the beginning. And it seems like you can shoot townspeople and animals and robots around the town with impunity. They don't really get hurt by it, but if you do attack, say, some stormtroopers, then they will attack you as well. Here's Leia. She's got a kick attack and her blaster, and she also has a special move where she calls in R2-D2 to attack with his electric shock. Now you see when she defeats an enemy, it'll fall to pieces, and I think the idea is that they're actually toys fighting each other, but it can be a little disturbing at times. Here's Boba Fett. Now, by default you can only use Luke and Leia, but if you find some of these coins scattered throughout the level, you can use characters like Anakin or Ahsoka, even in the original trilogy levels. Here's Anakin. It's a lot easier to unlock these characters than it was for the Avengers playset, because you used to have to collect 10 coins to unlock other characters, and this is just a single coin. Ahsoka doing some sort of mission. There are a lot of missions to perform here. For example, you might go collecting Cantina band members or ejecting droids from the Cantina, or even returning baby banthas to their mother. And when you complete various things, or when you destroy objects or defeat enemies, you get sparks, which are either used to level up your character or to buy things in the toy box, or you also get these coins here, which are credits. Now the credits are used to buy various things in the game. Whenever you level up your character, you get skill points, which are used to buy new skills, as you can see here. For example, you can buy limited flight for Boba Fett, you can increase his damage, you can increase his health, this kind of thing. And it would take quite a while to level up all of your characters, for sure. There are Minocs hidden throughout the entire playset, 100 of them to find and destroy. There are buildings that you can build, you buy and build them, like this is a sort of spaceport that will create ships for you to use. Even in just the Tatooine level, there are lots of vehicles and mounts that you can use to transport your characters. There's the Bantha, which can also break into certain areas to get secrets. There's the speeder bike. You can also perform tricks on a land speeder, which is rather bizarre.
You've mastered air tricks. When you're done, simply exit the vehicle.
You can play just about any part of the game 2 players, which is great because I like playing the game with my son. This, in particular, is a combat area where you actually fight the other player, but usually it's cooperative 2-player. split screen, as you can see. And yes, we are fighting on Jabba's sail barge right above the Sarlacc pit. I thought that was pretty awesome. This is a sort of shop run by K3PO where you can buy all sorts of things with your credits, like, as I said earlier, buildings and decorations for those buildings and other things. It really adds another element to the game where, you know, there's a lot of collecting involved, a lot of reasons to come back even after you've gone through the main story. I was pleased to see that you can go to Jabba's palace right from the beginning. You don't have to wait until the Return of the Jedi episode. And they did a pretty good job of recreating Jabba and his palace. I thought it was pretty cute. He serves as a quest giver. You can go around Tatooine and find various items that he's looking for. He also, in terms of the story, is supposedly keeping the Millennium Falcon on Tatooine until you get enough credits to get it out of Hock. You can see they put his little barbecue behind his throne. It's good attention to detail there. And we have Jar Jar in Carbonite. I mentioned before the collecting aspect of the game, and I think that's one of the areas where it really shines. There's just an incredible amount of content for you to unlock. I mean, it goes beyond collecting the physical figures. You've got all of these in-game items to collect. Some of these can be used in creating your own toy box environments, and some of them are used for interiors, which is the in-game house that you can build and then decorate using sort of Disney, Star Wars, Avengers themed decorations. Now, naturally, I wanted to do a Jabba's Palace theme, so that's what I did right away. And they have a surprising amount of stuff available for you. Just a really good selection. Here's my completed Jabba's Palace room. The only thing I don't have is Jabba himself. He is a cast member, and I believe you will unlock him at some point as you play through the game story, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. But we got his throne. We've got a fully themed environment. Even a Jabba beanbag chair, which I would like to have. And speaking of things I would like to have, this Sarlacc rug looks awesome. Jabba statue. Some music instruments like Max Rebo's piano and the drum. And finally, Han in Carbonite, surrounded by the two animal trophies. I really like this aspect of the game, and my son is crazy about it. He just loves making these rooms for various movies that he likes, so it's really a motivator to keep playing the game. There are lots of aspects of the game I haven't even touched on. You can fly actual vehicles out in space in some areas. You can have sidekicks, which are these various Disney characters that will fight alongside you in the toy box, and they now have a way to develop them, level them up. There's a farming aspect to the game now where you can farm food and feed it to your sidekicks. It's a little overwhelming actually at the beginning, but it's turned into an entire platform. Overall, from the perspective of a Star Wars fan, I think this is a pretty good game, something that would appeal to most people. I don't know if I would be buying it if it was just me alone playing it. I do like the figures, and I think I will probably be collecting the original trilogy versions at least. But the gameplay itself, it's a lot of fun if I'm playing with my son, but it's a little bit on the simplistic side sometimes. Despite the changes that they've made in a few places to the story and whatnot, I think it's clearly made by people who love Star Wars and understand it pretty well and have an attention to detail. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're coming out with for The Force Awakens later this year. Stay tuned for more Star Wars related videos and visit mightyjabba.com to see my Jabba the Hutt collection.